And finally tonight, federal stimulus money and a school system in upstate New York. The reporter is John Talenko of Learning Matters Television, which produces education stories for the NewsHour.
When Andrew Walker started high school in Rochester, New York, his learning disability made graduation seem unlikely.
Sometimes I be having problems figuring things out. Like sometimes if I'm reading something, I don't really get it, raise my hand. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wasn't learning.
But a program to train students with special needs for the workforce, Rochester's Work Experience program, put Andrew on track for on-time graduation. Now a senior, he's in small academic classes that meet every morning. And every afternoon, he earns school credit building this house.
When it's finished, I could just come back and look at it like, yeah, I did that. That's pretty beautiful. Give you a lot of pride.
But with the economy in recession, Rochester schools began cutting back on programs like this one. Carlene Mears is the director.
I went to look at certain budget lines, and they were markedly different than what I had expected.
How different?
Well, some lines at zero. And that's a little scary when you're looking at a salary line. And then I said, this can't be right. This can't be right because we can't run the program.
Work Experience wasn't the only program in jeopardy. Jean-Claude Brizard oversees Rochester's 60 schools and its budget of $700 million.
We had a $50 million budget shortfall coming into last fiscal year. At the time, we were predicting about 500 layoffs, which would create a big problem for us as a district. I know as a city, we couldn't put 500 individuals in the streets.
Then in February, the president signed the stimulus, sending $100 billion to the nation's schools to be spent over 2 years.
Because we know America can't outcompete the world tomorrow if our children are being out-educated today, we're making the largest investment in education in our nation's history.
This year, Rochester's share was about $30 million. Here and in most other districts, the bulk of the money restored jobs. $1.6 million brought back the staff of the Work Experience program.
We have an alternate pathway to graduation. We have an opportunity for students to have choice. That could have been a big loss.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Now watch what I'm
$116,000 from the stimulus also restored Strong Start, a program serving 75 kindergarten and first graders.
I like the way you're doing it.
Coordinator Connie Castaneda was saved from a layoff.
Many of our children come in not recognizing basic colors, basic numbers. They don't have basic vocabulary. We catch the problems early on and help the children have an extra boost so that they will be able to succeed in the years to come.
Stimulus dollars not only averted cuts, they also helped successful schools like World of Inquiry grow.
Greeting for today is to say "Segu," which means hello in Iroquois language. Segu.
This is the district's most popular elementary school, but over 100 families are on a waiting list to get in. Roxanne Henry's children got in by lottery.
My kids have opportunities here that I wasn't able to have at such a young age.
How is your kids' education different?
It's so much tactile. They get to feel it, they get to touch it, they get to see it, they get to experience it. Growing up, we mostly read about it. And here they're doing it, and it makes such a big difference for them.
World of Inquiry uses a model called expeditionary learning. Here, semester-long research projects take students into the community.
It's like you become an expert on a subject like wolves. We went to the zoo last year when I was in 5th grade. He would ask, like, are they really mean? Would they eat you after they already ate something?
The school has had tremendous success in literacy and mathematics. Right now, it's #1 in science, #1 in mathematics in the city of Rochester, despite the fact that it has 70% of its kids coming in at or below the poverty level.
To help families lining up to come here, Rochester opened a second school just like it. $95,000 in stimulus money is going to train the teachers.
Well, it was something.
How much training will the staff here get?
3 to 5 years of work intensely with us.
Cheryl Dauberton is with Expeditionary Learning. Education nonprofits like hers are seeking out stimulus contracts nationally. Testing companies are also lining up contracts. Like many districts, one of Rochester's biggest purchases, $750,000, is for software and tests to track student performance.
Do you really think we need more tests?
Yes. In districts, we have often fragmented databases. I want to be able to easily tie in programs to kids, to effectiveness of those programs. It's hard to do that.
Overall, the stimulus helped Rochester hold the line. Of the 500 layoffs expected, only 12 teachers lost jobs. Nationally, according to the U.S. Department of Education, the stimulus saved some 325,000 education jobs. But that number may drop as economic conditions worsen. And in fact, in New York and other states, new budget gaps have emerged and new cuts are coming. Cities like Rochester are trying to protect programs the stimulus restored.
We already are working on figuring out how to keep those programs by being more efficient, by looking for other opportunities. We're looking at a staffing reduction over the next 3 years, but hopefully do it through attrition. If we don't do what we have to do, the inevitable is going to face us in about a year or two.
Already, Rochester has eliminated some 200 positions through retirement and attrition, but it has more scaling back to do. Here and elsewhere, stimulus funds run out in 2 years. If districts cannot come up with replacement money of their own, then programs the stimulus paid for may again disappear.
And again, the major developments of this day. Afghan President Karzai called for unity, and he pledged broad-based reforms without offering any specifics. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Reid served notice that final action on health care reform may slip until next year. And late today, authorities in Cleveland said they found 4 more bodies at the home of a convicted rapist, in addition to the 6 found last week. On newshour.pbs.org, an online-only feature tonight, we have a new edition of Paul Salmon's Making Sense page on the financial crisis. Find out what the new rules are for credit card companies and what they'll mean for you. And Paul answers economics questions from high school students around the country. Also on our website, we'll have today's off-year election results throughout the evening tonight. They'll include those from the key races in New Jersey, Virginia, and New York. And we'll see you here tomorrow evening. For now, I'm Jim Lara. Thank you and good night.